What's up, guys? FOMO Trader here. Going to be going over the trades I called out in Discord today, 4 for 4 on live callouts. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment. I would greatly appreciate it. The link to the Discord and my link tree are both in the description of this video. I'm going to go ahead and post this to Twitter real quick. Let everybody know that we are live. One second. Sorry for the delay. Okay, so let's get to this. Okay, so the first trade I called out here was FCX. So I'm going to go through why I took this trade and when I entered and when I exited, just to give you an idea of exactly why I took it and the thought process behind it. So first I started out for FCX. I noticed there was some big flow yesterday coming through on Tradie Ticks for the 36 puts, I believe, for May. But normally when they're that short dated, you will see a pretty drastic move when on the shorter term contracts when you see that much flow. I believe there was 24 orders altogether. So what I did first was I plotted my high from yesterday from 421, and then I plotted my low, your two yellow lines here. So there's your low, there's your high. Then I plotted my Fibonacci from the high. I drew it from the high to the low. And if you look this morning, the pre-market action, we opened below the low. So for my entry trigger, I used the 10% fib extension as my trigger. Once we broke that, I entered the FCX $42 puts at 6 cents a piece with expiration of today. Since today is Lotto Friday, I went with a wide stop loss, and also because they are super cheap. Anything on Lotto Friday can go 0 from 100 real quick or 100 to 0. So it followed it out, and once we hit the 38.2 extension, so that was 2 Fibonacci legs away, our extensions from there, I went ahead and I took some profit on half of those contracts at 15 cents, which was actually about 150% profit. So the message I sent, the percentages was wrong, but if you do the math, 6 cent to 15% is about 150. So entered here on the break of the 10% extension based off yesterday's high to low. Then my price target where I took some of my profit was at the 38.2 extension. The second trade here that I'd like to go over is SPY. So let me make this bigger so you guys can see it. Let's see. It's hard to get this just right after you've plotted everything. So on SPY, same type of setup here. So I plotted the high of the day from 421 and the low of the day, and then I drew my Fibonacci from the high to the low. So there's the high of the day, this yellow line, and then I drew my fib from that high to the low. Then this morning, from the price action, we opened below the low of the day. So for that, for my entry trigger, I used a 10% extension, and I also used an orb. The orb is not plotted here. So, but at 9:36 a.m., we broke below the 10% extension, and this is 9:36. So right here you can see we had a little bit of a push up, but we stayed under the 8 EMA here, and then we flushed down. And just from that profit, from the 10% to the 23.6, we had a push up here once we hit the 23.6 extension level. So I went ahead and took some profit there. The contracts The contracts themselves went from about 95%. Let me pull up the numbers here. 95% to $1.85 just on that flush there, so that was about 94%, and I locked majority of my profit at that level. But as you can see, we continued to sell off the rest of the day, and those contracts now, if I were to look them up, if anybody were to hold any runners, the 434s are now sitting at so we entered at, not even sure how that just happened. So we entered at 95 cents, and the 434s right now are at 322. So if you would have held all day, that's 238% on that play. But like I said, I went ahead and took profit. Was happy with my profit there at almost 100% at 94%. So that was a good play. So the next trade I want to go over here is Aapl. And this one is a little tricky. If you guys would stay with me on my thesis on why I stayed in this trade. So let me get the proportions right here. So right here, you can see that we had a double top. Hold on, that's not a good representation. So if I zoom in here, let me turn off magnet mode. If I zoom in, you can see we had a one top here where we hit the, first of all, my Fibonacci level was drawn, the Fibonacci leg was drawn from the high of the day to the low of the day. So that's from the top white circle to the bottom. That's where my fib is drawn. Then the price action, so that's where my fib is drawn. Then the price action, we retraced here to the 50% retracement. Then the price came down, bounced off the 23.6, and then we had a double top here again at the 50%. So on this double top, this is where I entered my position. So if I clear these two out, I entered my position here. And as you can see, the price went down a little bit and then spiked back up, but we still held the line at the 50% retracement level. So at this retracement level, as long as we didn't break above this and the candle's body didn't close above that level, I was going to stay in the trade. So then we follow this down and we get a flush below low of the day right here at about 11:35 a.m. And then once we got down here and we got this doji candle right around noon to 12:05, we broke below. We had buying pressure here with this candle. As you can see, we wicked up. And then we had a doji. So once I saw this doji, I went ahead and took profit. This was also at about the 38.2 extension. This one yielded about 90% gains from our 10-cent entry up to 19 cent. So this was a great trade overall as well. We also took one other trade on Aapl, which was the 165 puts. Those ran 42 cent to 85 cent for 102% profit. So just to recap, we had FCX 6 cent to 15 cent, 150%. SPY 434 puts from 95 cent to 185. That was a 94% gain. Aapl 165 puts from 42 to 85 cent for 102%. And Aapl 162.50 puts from 10 to 19 cent. So that was 90% gains there. So overall, 4 out of 4 green trades today. Great Lotto Friday. I hope everybody made a little bit of money. I hope this video is helpful. If you have any questions about anything that I posted, about my fibs, about my thinking, any of it, join the Discord, leave a comment, hit the subscribe, message me on Twitter, whatever you would like to do. The Discord that I'm starting is free, going to be free for the first 100 members that join. After the first 100 members, there will be some type of fee. This will be for the alerts that I provide, as well as access to the Tradie Ticks bots. And that by itself is very helpful, as you can look up divergences of flow. You can look up net premium flow. You can look up whales. I mean, you can look up a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of stuff there. Check it out, tradieticks.com. Hope you guys have a good weekend. I hope everybody was green. I will catch you guys next week. Thank you. See you later.